Good day to our loyal spin readers and welcome to an episode of Spin Sidelines. I'm Ruben Terrado, your host for today's episode, and ngayon kasama natin yung ating colleague, college beat from the college beat, and of course yung PBA draft, Mr. Randolph Leongson. Randolph, welcome and say hi to our viewers.
Salamat sa pag-imbita, Sir Ben. And yun nga, pinag-uusapan natin possibly one of the most talent-rich drafts in recent history, and it's a treat for us to interview one of those 97 players.
Yeah. Before we talk about him, before we introduce our guest, Randolph, just a quick description lang about this coming draft. What can you say? Ang daming nagsasabi na this will be a deep class, one of the deepest class ever in history. Your take on it?
It's really one of the most intriguing, Sir Ben. Talent-rich, given na yun. We've seen a number of young talents come in year in, year out. But ito siguro, what I really like about this draft is its unpredictability. Like, the legit first round selections na pwedeng makuha dito can be role players, superstars, all-stars, and possibly MVPs in the future. So yun yung medyo intriguing dito. And there's really no clear-cut consensus number one. It can really go both ways. So yun yung napakaganda talaga, yung intrigue dito sa upcoming draft natin.
Yeah. Speaking of yung number one pick, itong guest natin is being labeled as the possibly one of the possible na number one pick dito sa ating coming draft. And we invited him to join us sa ating episode. Of course, itong ating guest, he's a 6'6" player from Seattle, and he played college ball in Portland University, and then he was recruited by De La Salle Green Archers. And he had a solid year in his only season in the UAP. He was named as one of the members of the Mythical Five. He also played for Mighty Sports. So parang he represented also the Philippines in international competitions with Mighty Sports. And in the D-League, he suited up for Marinerong Filipino. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Jamie Malonzo. Jamie, good day to you and welcome to Spin Sidelines.
Hello, thank you for having me. Salamat po. I'm glad to be here. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you, Jamie, for joining us. And first of all, Jamie, just want to ask about the updates about your preparation for the draft. Have you been working out, and have you been working out with teams in the past few weeks or days? Tell us more about it.
Yeah, for sure. I'm always just trying to stay on top of it, try to make sure that I get the reps in going forward. I have worked out with a couple teams already, and yeah, I'm just excited for what's coming.
Yeah, and then how about the coming days? How are you feeling right now? The draft is on March 14th. So how do you feeling? How do you see the coming draft, and how are you feeling right now?
I'm excited. Anytime you're able to be recognized as one of the top picks in the draft, that's just exciting news. And this draft is definitely intriguing, like you guys said. So there's a lot of talent. So I'm just glad to be a part of it this year.
Maybe can we ask what made you decide to join this year's draft? We know that it's really loaded with talent, and some fans are also waiting for your name to apply, and then you finally decided to apply. What made you decide to join this year's draft?
Right. I just I enjoy playing basketball in the Philippines. I got a little taste of it playing for LaSalle, and honestly, it's been one of the funnest times. So why not give it another go? And hopefully we can get started here and bring some more excitement to the Filipino people.
All right. Before we touched on LaSalle, Jamie, we want to know you more, and we want to know, how did you start playing basketball, and tell us a bit of the story about who influenced you to play the game and why did you enjoy it. Tell us more, Jamie.
Yeah, I guess you could say I sort of grew up in a basketball household. My dad, he played Division I back home in the States at Seattle University. So just growing up as a kid, I had bigger brothers. I always wanted to be able to beat them in 1-on-1 or 21. and I sort of just sort of grew a love for the game at an early age, around fourth grade probably. I think I began my first leagues, and yeah, just as I grew up older, you know, I wanted to be like my dad. So uh, here I am today, you know, stepping into my first pro job. So I'm excited.
And then you were recruited by Portland, Portland State, if I'm not, or Portland University.
Portland State.
Portland State. All right, the Vikings, right? The
Upper.
Vikings. So, what's the story behind that? Who recruited you, and what happened there?
You know, it was it was definitely one of the schools I always had in mind. You know, I sort of had a lot of options going into college, and just the way it works out, you know, sometimes you some things fall through, some things happen, some things don't, you know, and then I sort of just was able to get lucky enough to have a late scholarship offer to Portland State University, and I think the schedule was going to be super competitive. You know, we played teams like Stanford, Oregon, Cal, Berkeley, what else? Duke University, Butler. So it was sort of just a no-brainer to me, and I decided to go to Portland State.
Jamie, tell us how's the quality of competition in Division One? How tough is it? Of course, a lot of stories about players playing in Division One, but give us a picture. How tough is it?
Yeah, you know, it's competitive for sure. You know, there's a lot that goes into it. You know, it's always going to be competitive out there, definitely. And you get you know, you get taller guys. You know, so it's always going to be you know, competitive, and people always trying to block your shot. You know, and then you have skilled guards as well. So you know, it's definitely competitive out there in the States for sure.
Yeah, we are here with we're here with Jamie Malonzo and Randolph. Go ahead.
Jamie, you came out of nowhere when LaSalle snagged you to avail that one and done. Actually, there were three of you who played in UAAP season 81. Can you share to our viewers and readers, how did that come to be? I know there's a particular PBA legend who actively tried to recruit you, but can you tell that story to our viewers?
For sure. Shout out to my boy Keyshawn Evans and James Lapoute, of course. Those are the other two players that were also taken on this journey. But yeah, of course, Danny Siegel, you know, reached out to us after we all graduated college. So, you know, of course, we're in that period where we're trying to look for our next job, graduating and going into the pros. So, crazy enough, I didn't end up going into the pros. I ended up going to college again. I didn't see that one coming, but yeah, you know, so Danny, yeah, Danny Banjo recruited me to go to LaSalle, and pretty much we got the training in the summer a little bit back in the States, and then we sort of took off right to the Philippines. It sort of happened all so fast, you know. I think a lot of the people were just as surprised as I was, you know. Sort of all happened within 2 months, maybe a month span, and then figured, you know, I'm out here playing basketball in the Philippines now, so. It was fun though.
Jamie, you said the plan was for you to turn pro after graduating in Portland State. What was that a hard decision for you to have a red shirt year, or not really a red shirt year, but play one more year in LaSalle just to get your name out? Do you have any regrets with that decision, or you felt that was a right call?
Definitely no regrets. You know, for that time period, I had a lot of fun. You know, being able to compete, play against some of these guys. You know, and definitely, I didn't see it coming. I can tell you that. You know, I thought I could probably get into the PBA right after college. You know, you graduate, then you want to go pro, but then obviously there comes a lot with getting to the PBA. We see a lot of guys that are trying to get stuff done so they can enter the draft and enter all that stuff. You know, so it wasn't an easy decision, but I just did what I had to, you know, and I tried to make the most of my opportunity I had in front of me. And lucky enough, you know, I was put into a good position, and then eventually now I'm here, and I totally had a blast this past few years. So,
Jamie, want to touch about LaSalle, and you mentioned it earlier that you could describe it as one of the most fun you had. Tell us more about the season that you played with LaSalle, and I know you your team came up short. But how fun was it playing with the Green Archers and with their tradition and their fans? Talk about that experience.
For sure, unfortunately, we fell a couple games behind. Everybody was sort of in that race and sort of one game behind each other. So it was really close call. I wish I had more experience though, just because I sort of, like I said, sort of got thrown into it early and didn't really know what to expect. And I'm still learning as I'm going. But regardless of the results, I totally had fun playing for Animal Nation. They embraced me a lot. Going to the school and learning about the tradition of the school, meeting all of the students, all of the bosses, all of the teachers, all of the people involved, and I just sort of became, I just tried to embrace it all. The fans embraced me, and so I try to embrace them as much as I can, whether it's pictures and all of that. And just aside from all that stuff, you take it to the basketball court, and then the fans are ridiculous. Animal Nation goes wild.
Yeah.
You've seen that in like the first game, and just all throughout the season, they supported. So I just tried to embrace it all, and it was also worth it for me.
Yeah. How about playing against Ateneo? Of course, Ateneo is the chief rival of LaSalle. Did you know that there is there is a rivalry between them before you came to LaSalle? And when you played the actual game, how was it?
Yeah. So before the season started, of course that was our first game. So right away, I sort of knew exactly what was going to happen. The fans were going to be crazy, and I knew it was a rivalry game. And I knew that it was going to be, it was going to be fun. Everybody kept talking about it nonstop. So when I got out there, I didn't expect it to be that crazy. There was just a lot of people, and it got very, very loud in there, very, very loud, and I could tell, like, I don't know, it was fun to be able to play in front of that many people. So.
But Jamie, do you remember during that first game? Actually, I remember that was your debut in the UAP. That was LaSalle's first game, and you immediately introduced yourself to everyone by dunking on a certain guy named 30 Ravenna. Can you just talk us through that thunderous jam that you had to basically announce your entry in Philippine basketball?
Yeah, like you said, I guess I made a name for myself that night, Diva. Just so happened, I was able to go against one of the guys that built his name up from the all 4 years playing in the UAP, and yeah, just was able to sneak one in there.
But Jamie, I recall after that people were pitting you as rivals, but after the UAP season, it seems like you and 30 have grown closer and even played together. Can you just share how that friendship helped you throughout this process in the past, I think, 2 years now?
Oh yeah, we became teammates after that, and just for sure, during that process of being able to compete against him in practice, win a championship, quick championship with him with Mighty Sports, it just sort of became hard. You can't really be enemies with your teammates, so we definitely grew closer. We spent time together, whether it was after practice, whether it was showing the imports around town, and yeah, it just sort of happened. He reaches out to me. I reach out to him sometimes for our seasons. He went to Japan. I reach out to him and just make sure he's doing okay. So definitely my boy still. Shout out 30 Ravenna.
Since you mentioned that and you said you were checking on each other from time to time, has 30 given you any advice, especially his kuya keeper is in the PBA, his dad Bong is a coach in the PBA. Any advice that Thirds gave you, especially that you're possibly could be the #1 pick in this upcoming draft?
Opo. Just more of encouraging words. you know, he's excited to see what I can bring to the Philippines still, and yeah, it's just more of encouraging words. I know back before, you know, he's probably spoke on it with me, probably gave me advice for sure. But as far as I can remember, you know, just probably just encouraging words right now. You know, everybody's getting excited, diba?
Jamie, you mentioned about playing for Mighty Sports, and of course, Mighty Sports represented the Philippines in different international competitions. How was it playing for practically the flag and the country and seeing all those Filipinos supporting you? How was it?
Opo, it was a very humbling experience. You know, you get to see you get to represent your country and see different types of Filipinos all around the world. Prior to the tournament, I didn't know that there was so many Filipinos in Dubai, and then just being out there, you know, you get to experience it all. And then, of course, you know, representing the country is just something that is hard to turn down. Everybody wants to do it, you know. So unfortunately, I can't play for Gillas, but hopefully one day they'll change the rules to that, and I'll be able to represent again.
Yeah. Yeah, your thoughts about that, not being able to play for Gilas. Is it kind of frustrating, or are you? What's your feelings towards that and that rule that prevents
Of
some of
course.
you playing for the Philippines in FIBA competitions?
Opo, you know, it sucks not being able to go out there. Was a lot of the guys are my friends, you know, and just sort of being restricted, diba, is just sort of hard feeling. But you know, I don't take nothing too hard, so it is what it is at the end of the day. But unfortunately, I'm not able to play, and I wish I could.
But Sir Ben,
Yeah,
I'd
sige,
like
Brandon,
to
go.
follow up lang because Jamie talked about that mighty stint representing the country. He played alongside guys who are also in the same boat and were also entering Mikey Williams, Jeremiah Gray. Jamie, can you talk about the relationship that you've had with those guys who are also having the same process as you now and having that in a way a little chunk of feeling representing our country in those kinds of competitions? How special was that for you?
Oh yeah, it was very special. You know, Mikey was my teammate for my little stint with Mighty Sports, and I could say he's one of my friends. You know, we've hung out a lot. Jeremiah is one of my friends. We've hung out. We played basketball in LA together one time. So it's a fun process. You know, you get to create relationships with all of these great guys, and I think that's what makes our draft class so special. It's, Dami so much talent in our class that it sort of brings a lot of excitement back to the PBA, you know. So I can't wait. I'm pretty sure Mikey and Jeremiah, you know, I know that because I talked to them. So we want to be part of it. So
Is there
can't
a
wait.
side bet? Is there a side bet on who gets picked first?
Nah. Just want to be able to compete again. You know, everybody wants to play, and hopefully the PBA will start back up and we can get back to it.
Yeah. Jamie, going back to Mighty Sports, playing against tougher competition, playing against quality opponents. What did you learn from that experience of playing those kinds of opponents?
It sort of gave me the what is it? Just a taste of the, you know, the pro atmosphere. It was my first pro job, and so just going against older guys, having to defend some of the import players on the other teams, being 30 did a great job of that sometimes, and it just sort of gave me a taste, you know, and having great guys on my team like Andre Blatch and Balkman, you sort of have to become a sponge and just learn from them, and then just truly see what a pro does from day to day and how they treat their body after practice, recovery, and just how they approach the game every day in practice as well. So just stuff like that was just all the stuff I sort of took away from having my first pro job on Mighty Sports.
We're here with Jamie Malonzo, one of the 97 players who applied for this year's draft. And talking about this coming draft, Jamie, what can you say about the other players? You've touched on Mikey Williams and Jeremiah Gray. There's also Joshua Munzon, who is also seen as a possible number one pick. So talk about this draft class. I'm sure you've seen them play, most of them at least. And yeah, your thoughts about them.
There's so much talent, you know. Like I said, the draft can go as far as the last round. You're still going to hear a familiar name, and it's just fun being able to, you know, go through this process and see where everyone's going to land. You know, Josh Blinzone, me, sort of battling for the first pick, but whatever happens, I think everybody's worked equally as hard, you know. So I think it's going to be fun. I have LaSalle teammates as well, Aljun, Andre Karakut, James Laput. Just it's exciting. You have so many familiar faces, so much good talent, so many good players, and I think everybody's just sort of working and getting excited to see where they'll end up. So I'm excited.
But being mentioned as perhaps the possible number one pick, is there an added pressure on your part, or just having fun with it, being labeled as such?
You know me. I'm gonna have fun with whatever situation comes. You know, just try and make the most of it. The more you think about it, the more pressure you're gonna add on yourself. So you can't really go out there and think about that stuff. You know, people will say what they want to say, but as long as you take care of what you got to take care of at the end of the day, they can't say nothing. So no added pressure. Just go out there, have fun. Maybe get a few highlights. You know, maybe shoot some threes. Just have fun with it, diba?
Yeah. And then how about Joshua Munson? Did you have a chance to talk to him in the past few days? Have you and your thoughts about him?
I haven't reached out to him recently. You know, I'm pretty sure he's back home right now in LA, and I'm pretty sure he's just, you know, working out, getting ready. So I'm just doing the same here. I just got here in the Philippines about 2 weeks ago, so we're sort of on different, but you know, we keep tabs on each other. I'm sure he's definitely my friend. We reached out to each other multiple times just in my last little 2 years here. So yeah, he knows what it is with me. I'm pretty sure we're just both equally excited, and whatever happens. You know, I'm pretty sure he won't take anything to harm. I know I'm for sure not going to take anything to heart. So we're just excited for each other, Diba. We're all friends. So yeah.
Yeah. Jamie, during this pandemic, I know it's very tough situation for all of us, especially you guys that you've not been playing for a long time. How were you able to adjust to the situation with this pandemic?
Of course, you know, with the pandemic, it's hard. Your gym access is sort of limited, so just trying to be able to find the gyms, get into the gym, make sure you stay on top of your fitness, make sure you're conditioned and ready for when you get drafted. Is just sort of all of the key components I've been trying to figure out during the pandemic. So I know with everybody, it's probably been hard given everyone's different situations. So I just hope that it gets better in time. PBA will be able to figure out a solution so we could bring basketball back to the Philippines and just make sure everybody will remain safe in the process. Hopefully it comes back in time.
Yeah. Are you looking forward to the possibility that you'll be playing in a bubble if the government will still won't allow any they will still be playing in a bubble? Are you looking forward to it?
Opo. Looking from afar at the last bubble, you know, it looked fun. They get this. I'm seeing guys in swimming pools with their team, so of course. So I mean, yeah, I can't. I just want to be able to play basketball again, and the bubble life, maybe enter the bubble life and see how it is for firsthand experience.
Jamie, final question for you. We're all looking forward to the draft, but what can the Filipino fans expect from you, and what can the team that select you expect from you in the coming season?
Probably just high energy. I try and put on a show for the people all the time, whether it's going to be a dunk or just being able to do other things. And so I showed a little bit of what I can do in a short span at LaSalle, showed a little bit of what I can do with short span with Mighty Sports, and hopefully I could just continue and carry it on. And yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Jamie Malonzo. Jamie, thank you for joining us in our Spin Sidelines episode. But before we go, but before we go, this is your opportunity to greet your friends, maybe thank the people who made this application of your PBA draft possible. You're very near to you're getting closer to your dream. So this is your opportunity to thank those people who helped you along the way.
Of course. Thank you guys for having me. Of course. Thank you to the viewers watching the interviews, and thank you to my parents as well. They did a good job, and I just sort of want to thank all of the fans that have supported me throughout this process. Thank LaSalle for giving me the opportunity to showcase what I can do. My manager, PJ, Danny, for bringing me here, and just everybody that was sort of involved in the whole situation. Just thanking the PBA for allowing us to be a part of, one of the biggest drafts that they sort of had in a long time, and so just stuff like that. Thank you, everybody, and thank you guys for watching.
Thank you very much. That was Jamie Malonzo, one of the applicants in the coming PBA draft. And Randolph, thank you for watching. Or thank you for watching. Thank you for joining me in this episode. Randolph, any messages to our fans?
Yeah, first, good luck na lang kay Jamie. We expect big things from you, from LaSalle to Mighty Sports to even that one game with Marinerong Filipino in the PBA.
Thanks. Yeah, sometimes you forget, right?
Yeah.
And to our viewers, there's really great excitement, and we look forward with all of you in the upcoming PBA draft.
Salamat, Randolph.
All right. Thank you, Jamie, for joining us. And that ends our episode of Spin Sidelines. Join us again next time for another episode. Keep following SPIN.PH on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Visit us at SPIN.PH. In behalf of my colleague, Randolph Leongson, I'm Ruben Terrado, and this is Spin Sidelines.